Welcome to Charlotte Execs After Dark. Relationships, business talk, real life. With your host, Timothy Motivation Jones. Charlotte Execs is an organization of professional men and women in and around the Charlotte, North Carolina area who come together, put down the work, and enjoy life. Between live events, members meet on a group call, and it's recorded for your enjoyment. Let's listen in.
Thank you all for your patience. Thank you all for your patience. Let me go ahead and mute these calls. Mute these calls. Okay. Ah. Okay. I'll do it manually. And I got a couple of messages from a couple of people that I see on the call that they won't be able to speak right about now as they're doing things, but they're tuning in. Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Timothy Jones. This is Charlotte Execs After Dark. It's a live recorded call that turns into a podcast. We have these calls in between live events, and I want to just do a quick round table to see who it is that we have on the call, and we're going to get straight to it. But I'm going to unmute you, and I'm going to call off the last four of your phone number. And just please just tell us who you are. Don't be shy. We just want to know who you are, and we're going to move on. That's all. 7954, who is that we have on the call?
This is Carnita.
Carnita. Glad to have you on the call, ma'am.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I think that's Brian 6246. I know you're resting, man. Yes, Brian.
This is Brian. Yes.
Okay. And that's Stacy. I know she's doing
I'm here.
Good. Yes, ma'am. And I think this is Nikki right here.
Yeah, I'm on the line.
Okay. Glad to have all y'all on the line. So glad to have y'all. We got 0677 in Philadelphia. Who's that?
That's Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Sorry, ladies.
All right. Mike, were you on the call previously?
No.
You weren't?
No.
Okay. Just trying to see which Mike it was. Okay. Glad to have you on the call. 6535. Who's that in Concord?
This is Yolanda Blakeney.
Hi, Yolanda. Glad to have you on the call. Have you been on the call before?
I have not.
Okay. Glad you tuned in. 7405. Matthews. Who's that? Latasha. Glad to have you on the call. I think I said your name right.
Latasha Johnson.
Latasha Johnson. Orlando, Florida, 0718. Who is that?
Paul.
Oh, what's going on, Paul?
Same old.
We're going to get you to talk this week, brother. You just be sitting low-key. You be on the calls, but you don't be saying nothing. We're going to get you. Glad to have you on the call. 0019, Florence, South Carolina. Who's that?
This is Mayan.
Mayim?
Yeah.
Glad to have you on the call. Somebody just came in. I think it was 9615. And then I think Jason just popped in. Who is that 9615?
This is Linda.
Glad to have you on the call, Linda. Hey, Jason, what's going on? See, I saw you just popped in.
How's it going, man?
All right. 6621. Is this Mr. Al Grease?
Yes, it is. How you doing, brother?
Good. This is the director of that controversial video we've been watching. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Yeah, we just went around a little bit, and people coming in. I'll try to keep track of who we haven't spoken to and keep it moving. Yes, sir. Let's just get straight to the point. Charlotte Execs After Dark, man. We ain't got to sugarcoat anything. These are grown professionals on here, taking time out of their day just to log on and see what we're gonna talk about. Let's just get straight to it. Can you tell us a little quick tidbit about yourself, Mr. Greaves.
I'm a documentarian filmmaker. I'm based out of New York and Atlanta. I travel back and forth between New York and Atlanta. We got the controversial docuseries Frustrated. I actually made Frustrated 2 since Frustrated 1, and we're currently in pre-production on Frustrated 3. So we got 2 in the can already, and we're working on an additional one of Frustrated 3.
Yeah, I saw that Frustrated 2 was Mama's Baby, Daddy's Maybe, talking about child support. I saw that.
Yeah, what we try to do is really when you break down the child support industry and how the industry makes money off of child support. And what it does is really, we look at it in the black community, it takes the wealth out of the black community. So when we look at America and how one of the richest countries in the world, and blacks control less than 1% of it, less than 1% of the wealth of it. And a lot of it has to do with the way we choose to reproduce, the way we have children. So when our family structure is broken and that money is taken out due to child support payments, and you have women living in poverty, and then you have the men living in poverty because you can't live off of a third of your income that you make. So that was really the important message I was really trying to send out, and to structure the black family, because when you reproduce the way we do, your money goes elsewhere, and it doesn't go into the family structure. It takes away from college education funds, takes away from buying homes, takes away from passing wealth from generation to generation.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds interesting. Might have to do a watch party on that or something like that. Let's definitely touch on part 1 of Frustrated, when you went down to Brazil. Can you tell us, why did that movie come about? Why did you choose to do that?
I went to just going, me and my older brother just decided to reward my nephew for graduating from college, and wanted to show, to expose him to a different culture. So we just picked Brazil out of the blue. No reason at all. We just, let's go to Brazil. We went to Brazil. We had a good time, and I came back, and I went to Maryland to family and my cousin's barbecue, those annual barbecue. I went down there, and I heard a gentleman on the phone speaking Portuguese, and I thought he was Brazilian. He said, no, I was studying the language because I plan on going. I said, oh, that's cool. And then he exposed me to the article that was written by Essence. He said, did you read the Essence article, what they said about black men trapped in Brazil? And I said, no, I didn't read it, man. He said, yeah, you should check it out, man. And your cousin told me you're a filmmaker. I said, yeah. He said, you should do a film on it. I said, well, I really wasn't leaning that way, but when I started to do the research on it, and I got the whole of the article, and the article conflicted with what I just experienced. I have nothing against the homosexual community, but they said a homosexual to write about a heterosexual man experience in a play, so I felt it was bias right there. And a lot of the black women who were eating up that information didn't know that Essence is not owned by blacks anymore. It's owned by Time Warner. So what Time Warner did was really...
I'm sorry, we got a bad connection. You said Time Warner and kind of chopped up. Can you stop?
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Essence is owned by Time Warner. It's not owned by blacks anymore. And what Time Warner was doing really was excusing, from my point of view, they were excusing the black women that were going on in the black community by saying, well, this is why your man goes over to Brazil. He's looking for sex. He's a sex tourist and this nature. And black women, they get because they can't deal with black women here. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I went to Brazil. Brazil has the largest populations of Africans outside of Africa. So there's more black women there than there is here. So there's a huge black population of African women there. And what I wanted to do was actually add balance to that story.
Is that what you plan to do in part 3?
Part 3 is really going back in depth into looking into the black culture, and also offering options to black men. When you look at the condition of black men going to jail for domestic violence, when it comes to domestic violence now, you really can't have a dispute with your significant other, because if she calls the police on you, you automatically going to jail. And we all got family members or close friends that say that you said, man, I didn't touch her, I didn't hit her. I'm not downplaying domestic violence, but the way it's used in the black community, you can't even have conversation, a discourse with your significant other without it leading to arrest. And I have a gentleman here, police officers here that I'm going to have in the film that will attest to that, how they play on the numbers of it. And I'm really offering solutions to black men when it comes to dating and making a living outside of America. And looking, you know, and like we're going to examine Colombia. In Cali, Colombia, it's a huge black culture in Colombia, which a lot of us might not know that, but there's black women there, black culture there in Colombia, also in Brazil. And then we go back to examining the situation that's going on here in America as well. In Atlanta, we're going to be filming in Atlanta, Maryland, D.C., and New York.
Now, you did a documentary on these things. What is your personal take on the topics discussed in Frustrated Part 1 and the things they were saying about the women? And, you know, what's your take on African American women?
Well, listen, I was born and raised in New York City, and I lived in Atlanta for a while, and I traveled around. I lived in Alaska. I was a person that was highly motivated, so I traveled a lot. So when you go into quote-unquote black communities, you see the dysfunction there. For me in New York, it's normalcy to see a single mom with 2 or 3 kids pushing it. That's normal. Now, I live in New York, but when I go up into the suburbs, up in Scarsdale, because I live not in Scarsdale, but close by, but when I go in that community, you don't see that. You don't see that function in there. So it's a dysfunction that I see. So as a single man who's highly motivated, you know, driven by my film career, so I'm very protective of myself. So, you know, when it comes to dealing with women and sexual partners, I protect myself at all times because I don't want to create to that dysfunction. So I get called a homosexual. You ain't got 2 or 3 babies. I did a show in D.C. and the lady said, well, "How many kids you got?" I said, "I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I don't have a wife. What the hell I need with kids if I don't have a wife?" She said, "Oh, you must be a homosexual." Why do I have to be a homosexual? Because I'm being responsible. My family was dysfunctional a lot of ways, but my mother and father and my family unit were there. You know, with dysfunctional, but we were there. So I don't know how to create something like that. You know, and the backlash is I get called out of my lanes and who the hell you think you are and all that, because I try to expose some of the situation and condition that's going on there and try to tell women how to be responsible about who you choose to lay down with. If you want to lay down with the thug with the pants hanging off his behind and you create Ray Ray and Daquan in them, and that's the kind of condition that you're creating, then you can't get mad. You can't get mad and say, well, the man ain't shit. Well, he didn't rape you. You sit down and you pleasured him. He didn't rape you. Why would you choose to have pleasure a man who's irresponsible?
Mm-hmm. No, I was just going to say your background kind of drowning you out at times. So do you date African American women?
Oh, I love black women. And when I leave the country, I date black women. I'm not attracted to Caucasian women. I'm just not.
I guess it seems like it was like maybe I was wrong when they got black women in other countries, but they're not considered African American since they're not Americanized. So do you date African American women? If there's
well, you want to know if I date here in America then?
Mm-hmm.
I don't date as much in America. I stay grounded. I stay grinding. I stay focused on what I'm doing, and to be honest, I try to not get caught up in some of the buffoonery and stuff that's going on. And it's not just you got prominent black people who get caught up in it. So that stuff I try to escape. So I don't date as much here. I travel. I do travel a lot, and when I travel overseas, I deal with women of color. I'm not attracted to Caucasian women.
Okay. All right. And we got a few more callers that came in. I see Tina, Kwame, and about 3 more. We'll get to you soon. For those who have been listening, you got any comments on what you've been hearing? Anybody? Men or women?
Comment.
Who is that, please?
It's Carnita.
Okay.
My comment is, it seems that in the instance that people are describing certain people, certain character types of people, it's a situation where all women kind of get lumped into one category because we're African American. And not all African American women think and act the same way. So when he's saying he doesn't date women when he's in America, it's kind of sounded like, well, he doesn't date African American women in America because they're all this type. That's not true.
No, that's not what I'm stating. I apologize if it came out that way. I just don't date in America. Period. I don't date. I live in New York City, multicultural. You got Latin women, you got Indian, you got all. I just don't date here in America. I don't date. I like to I like to travel. I enjoy my freedom. I understand the way the system is set up and some of the stuff I can get caught in, and to avoid that, and I'm working on my craft to be successful in what I'm doing. I try to avoid the stuff that would stop me from doing that. So,
so
being careless.
Is that saying you're not dating in America? So, but when you travel abroad, you're dating people?
No, when I go out, I have female friends in Brazil. I travel to Brazil. I try to go at least 3 or 4 times a year. So I have female friends there. I have friends in other parts of the world. DR, and I'm going to Colombia. And so when I go over there, that's my downtime. That's my downtime. I relax there. I date there. I have fun there. When I come back here to America, I get on my grind. I hustle. I work hard. So I just.
But it seems to me like when you're here in America, you're not dating because you think women are different here. Black women are different here than they are there. Well, and I think you can get caught up with any type of female, no matter what you are. That's not saying that every woman in Colombia or Brazil thinks the same way or acts the same way either.
Well, there's a different culture there. But when you find out the culture in Brazil.
I'm not talking about culture. I'm talking about mindset. There are women there who do the same things as women here. So I'm not talking about culture. I'm talking about mindset.
Well, the mindset there's also is a little bit different. How family is more collective and the family unit is a lot tighter than it is here. So when I go over there, when I meet my friends there, I have to meet their whole extended family. Here, I can meet a young lady, go out with her, and don't meet her family until she pops up pregnant, and go home and say, well, here's my kid's father. I have nieces, and I went through that with my own.
Why is it that you always say that a woman has to pop up pregnant just because you're dating her? I don't think that's the case.
Well, when I do a lot of research, I do a lot of research before I actually do my projects. And one of the biggest the number that came out, 52% of black women. This is 52% of black women have multiple children from multiple men. 26% of black men are responsible for those births. Okay, so my biggest issue here is how we choose to reproduce and how we have children. That keeps us in these situations, keeps us in poverty.
But that's a two-way street, though. It's not just the women; it's the men too. We have irresponsible men who are out there having multiple babies with multiple women too.
Yeah,
so it's not a man thing.
I told you 26% of men are responsible for that. So when we look
at 26% of men get 52% of women pregnant.
No, that's responsible for multiple births, have multiple children from by multiple women.
Excuse me, if you don't mind.
Who's that?
Mayan.
Who?
Mayan.
Mayan, go ahead.
Yes. I hate to say it, but in a way, I do agree with a lot of the things he said because being in the legal field, I do a lot of research, and I have come up on those same things as well. And when me and my ex-husband decided to get a divorce, I immediately got my tubes tied. Just for that simple fact, because I did not want to, basically what he said, there are a lot of women that have babies by different men, and unfortunately, a lot of women do that, a lot of women. And yes, men have their faults. I'm not saying, men don't do things as well. They do have their faults. But as African-American women, sometimes we let men get away with things we shouldn't. And that is a personal issue that we have. But unfortunately, life moves on. And I do agree with a lot of the things he said. When you go out of the country, a lot of them do think differently than us. like I've even had a male friend tell me that he feels like men here in America are soft compared to men in a different country. He said they are a lot harder on women. He said, in a way, I kind of feel like we are soft compared to them.
I guess that depends on where, because, even like West Africa, they're very timid. Burkina Faso and Togo, very, very timid. So I guess it just depends on where.
Yeah, so he said, there is a different mindset, and, America is known as home of the free, so a lot of people are allowed to speak their mind more so here in America than than other places. And sometimes they can be more strict on women. So here, women have more of a say-so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I still think a lot of this has to do with immaturity and mindset, because it sounds to me like the whole idea of women getting pregnant by multiple people falls on the woman getting pregnant, and not that the man needs to take responsibility for not procreating himself. That's
let me
two-way street. One person can't get pregnant by the other without the other.
That's true. It's both of our faults, because we, as a
okay, Mr. Greaves, go ahead, Mr. Greaves.
No, I'm sorry. No, I want to let her make her point. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. She can make a point.
No, she was done.
Well, I just want to state that childbirth is not equal. Women can die. Women can die through childbirth. Women carry the baby for 9 months. So childbirth is not equal. It's not the same for men and women, because women carry more dangers in childbirth. In my opinion, knowing that, they should be more selective.
But I'm not talking about childbirth. I'm talking about.
Well, I'm talking about childbirth.
I'm talking about the idea of the concept of getting pregnant. It still takes two people to decide or to get pregnant.
It takes two people, but knowing that you carry the higher risk of your life on the line, pregnancy, morning sickness, going to the doctor, back and forth to the doctor, you can die during childbirth. You carry more of the burden in childbirth itself. I feel women should be more responsible in who you choose to lay down with to have kids if you carry most of the burden. You want a man that if you did get pregnant, he would be there with you. He'd be by your side and want to marry you or raise a family with you, not somebody that when you say, hey, I'm pregnant, oh, I'm sorry, I'm out of here. And that onus.
Right, but at the same time, men can help prevent pregnancy just like women can.
Well, men have one option, but men have two options. They have the condom, and you can have the snip down there. Women have, I think last time I looked on Planned Parenthood, women have 11 or 12 ways to prevent themselves from getting pregnant. And then as a last result, you have the morning after pill. And if that doesn't work, you have the abortion.
Well, now, you have option number 3. Don't screw around if you don't want to get somebody pregnant.
Well,
that's
having
sex
option. Is not an agreement. Well, having sex is not an agreement to parenthood. Because if we have sex together, that don't mean I agree to be a father or you agree to be a mother. Because if you get pregnant and you say, well, listen, I'm going to law school, I don't want children right now. You can go on and if you chose to get rid of that child. I don't have that option. I'm at your mercy. Whatever you tell me, you decide to do. So if you say, well, I'm having a baby, damn your film career, I'm going to take this child support, I'm going to have that. Most of the time, I'm going to resent that, and then men will move out, and then you get stuck carrying the baby by yourself, and that's how sometimes you end up in poverty because you're a single mom with a kid now.
But see, that's a part of the responsibility of having sex. Sex is not just about doing something because it feels good. There's a responsibility to it. Whether you get to have to say so and what happens after that or not, you still have to take responsibility for what you did.
Right, well, being responsible during the act. So if you had if you're going to lay down with somebody. Well, if you know who you're dating, and if you feel like this guy is responsible, you've been dating for a while, and you know him before it got to the physical, then you would know what kind of individual you're dealing with. But if you are at the bar and you guys are having a good time because he done bought you some drinks and wine, and you feel a little tipsy,
that's the irresponsibility part of it, right there.
Right, and that's what.
Should you really be having sex with somebody you met at a bar and drank with, and that's it? That's kind of dumb.
But it happens. It
happens on both sides. Both irresponsible, drunk-ass people decided to have sex. It sounds stupid on both parts. So y'all both got to take responsibility for what you did.
But when you look at society, the man has been examined for that. He's been punished for that. On the other side, I think women have been protected from that. They've been protected. Somebody said, "You stupid. You're stupid for having a kid out of wedlock, and we're not going to award you with Section 8 housing. We're not going to award you with child support payments, because child support payments used to be for married women only. Used to, if you were married,
but child supports aren't for the woman; they're for the child. Like, okay, for instance, I was married for 16 years. I had a child with my husband only, the only child I have, and we're divorced now. But I waited 8 years before I had that child with him. He helps me raise my child, not through the court, but it's our child. He helps me monthly to raise our child, whether we're together or not. That's called responsibility. That's being a grown up.
I agree. Listen,
we're not together anymore.
You married a responsible man at that time.
I'm still
you got
not
married
to him now.
But okay, but when
he could say, you know what, we're not together anymore. You left me, so I'm not helping. I'm saying,
but my point I'm making is that child support was only given to married women at one point in time. It wasn't given to women who had babies out of wedlock. It wasn't given to them. So if you had a kid out of wedlock, you were on your own. Recently, up until like the late 50s, they decided to give married women who had born children out of wedlock to give them child support benefits. That wasn't common.
But the reason for that wasn't because of being married or not. It was because unmarried women, there was a stigma attached to them having a baby out of wedlock in the 50s, so they didn't ask for support. That's what it was.
They didn't have,
and when it got,
and you didn't have to.
That's it.
But you didn't have. Yeah, you didn't have to. That stigma is gone. So it's common. Like I said, I travel back and forth between New York and Atlanta. For me to see single moms with 2 or 3 kids, it's common for me. It's common. When I go to, I got friends. I used to live in Alaska. When I go out in Alaska, and you go out to the Midwest, that's not common. You don't see that kind of. You don't see that kind of. So, oh, you don't have any. Okay. It's common. But here in New York City, it's common.
Well, you need to make a couple more trips. I lived in Kansas. I've lived in Alaska. I've lived in Arizona. I've lived in Tennessee. I've lived in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. It happens everywhere. And Texas. It happens everywhere.
I
so
not
just
about my
those
travels.
certain little cities with a bigger population of black people. That's what you're comparing it to. You can't do that.
No, I'm not. I'm not comparing it to that, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm just talking about in my travels. My travels are small. My travels are small. When I do research,
okay.
You see.
Okay. Yeah, I just let y'all go freely. Just wanted to go ahead and leave the mic open for y'all to go. Go at it a little bit, not at it, but just to get some things clarified. So we want to make sure. Yeah, exactly. That's why we just let y'all go. We want to see if anybody else has some comments. If you are muted, press **. That will unmute you. Is that Nikki? You got a comment?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Okay.
So I'm listening to the call, and it's very interesting to hear a man's point of view and someone like yourself that travels. And I'm fully on the young lady side. I'm over here like, what the hell are we listening to? Like, okay, so this call is about men that travel abroad to find women. Is that, because I'm really trying to figure out why the hell are we worried about a man that's traveling abroad to find a woman when we're in the United States and we're trying to find men here. So, I'm trying to figure out what is really the point of him telling us he goes abroad to find women and he don't want to mess with women in the United States because of the fact that we have multiple kids and all of this. Like, that sounds like so ridiculous to me, because if you lay with a woman, like she said, let me finish. If you lay with a woman that actually you met somewhere at a bar and you don't know her, then of course, yeah, you may get set up. And that may be happening. Your choice of women may be off of the women that you run across, because there's a lot of women out here that's not going to give you sex the first night, the second night, the first month until she know you. And she may make you wait to have sex until y'all get married, until y'all get to that point. But if the women that you're coming across in New York, Atlanta, all your travels that you're going on, then maybe you're just picking the wrong women to actually have intercourse or actually want to have sex with because there's plenty of women out here that do not have multiple kids, that are not on child support. I have a daughter of my own. Yes, she's 11 years old, and I'm not with her father. He's not on child support. Like the young lady said, he's helped support his daughter. And no, I'm not out here looking for a man and trying to lay up with a man to have multiple kids to get child support. So, yes, it's women out here that want a good man. And if you're going abroad to find women, more power to you. Like, that's high five to you. Like, we're not looking for a man that's going abroad. We're looking for a man that's in the States that want a woman, a good woman that's in the United States. So, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, I know our calls are relationship calls, and we're on here trying to meet men or, you know, trying to find the right one. But clearly, this man on the line wants a woman that's abroad. So that's not helping anyone that's on this call. What's
we want to see their various mindsets and why they think and why they tick. That's why we posted the video first to see why do they feel that there's a need to go abroad. So in all that, get an understanding, and that's what we're doing.
Oh,
so what's
okay.
your feedback?
I wanted to just get clarity. I just wanted to get clarity because I know our calls are normally in the state type calls. We're trying to find men here or trying to trying to do things in state. I'm just trying to figure out what's the point.
Well,
I mean, I understand him trying to make us, you know, trying to get his point across, and this is how he go about doing it, but I don't see why it's helping any women on this phone call.
Well, I was just, he was asking me questions about my personal life, and I was just sharing some of my personal life with you. I thought the purpose of the call, we were talking about dating, especially dating now and looking at the situation that's going on in the inner cities and the functionality that's going on, that's breaking down the dynamic of the black family. I was just sharing my personal travel habits and personal travel dating, my dating habits.
Okay. I was just trying to understand because I've been on a lot of Timothy calls, and this right here is, I just feel like, I don't know about the other women on the call, but this really is
but
not.
I will say this. Let me just say this. You know, from my Facebook community and people that follow me, Twitter and all that stuff, and from that documentary, it really has inspired a lot of black men in the black community to get their passport and travel. So you see more prominent black men.
That's all of the week.
Okay, why does that help?
Hold on. Let it go. I'm gonna have to mute everybody because we gotta get some order here. We gotta definitely get some order here, and we're gonna have folks raise their hands. In regards to men getting their passport, cool. If I'm gonna get a passport, it's gonna be for a missions trip. I don't need a passport to go check out a woman. So I understand you got men who want to go be curious or just really want to go there and do what they do, but that's definitely not all of us. Even after understanding the cultures and what goes on there, I'm pretty. I got my eyes full to make a choice here in the States, so it all depends on the man. But we definitely got to have order. We can't have people talking over each other, or we're going to have to mute everybody and just go one at a time. I want to keep the call open so we can kind of, go back and forth without the stop and pauses, but we definitely got to have some order. Kwame, you had a comment?
Yeah, just real quick. I guess did people really watch the video, or did they listen or read your emails?
I'm not sure if they watched the video or not. It's posted on the site. It's posted on the website. It's posted on Meetup. So whether they did or not, I'm not sure.
Well, because I will probably bring a lot of clarity. What the brother's talking about. And again, people may or may not agree with it or disagree with it. But I'm just saying because that would definitely bring a lot of clarity in regards to why the call is happening. But yeah, go ahead. My bad. Exactly. Yeah, and so what I guess what. I don't know. Again, I got in here late, but I don't think I've heard it. But basically, what he was talking about, at least what I saw in the first one, was basically talking about the options, what black men are doing, and I just heard it basically talking about you heard the counters from a lot of women talk about how that they since they don't want to they don't want to deal with African American women. They think it's a weak situation for them to go out and deal with other women of other cultures. Okay. And you get a lot of I guess back and forth about that, and that's the thing because again I know articles were written about this. Yeah, people talking about it on his YouTube comments, talking about how these are some weak dudes, these are some bad dudes, these, dudes couldn't do nothing, yada yada yada. Yet while these guys are going there, and some are finding, some are going to other places, finding, I want to say, I guess, finding success, with relationships over there. And but hold on, we don't get critical. Is my background?
I'm not sure. I keep hearing noise when you speak. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of in a silent spot there, but basically what I'm saying is, we get a lot of criticism from sisters, which I totally understand, but at the same time too, it's like, you need to be open and understand, why, and from that, then you may still have a disagreement, or you may have some counterpoints, you might have some other, some thoughts about it, but just to come out and say, it's just straight to whack and dude is crazy. I mean, I listen. I like to listen first, and then make an assessment, then go from there.
Okay. That was Mr. Grease's background. I unmuted you so you can go ahead and comment again. At the end of the day, this call is in regards to just learning other folks' mindsets. If you didn't watch the video, then you're kind of out of the loop on what he's talking about in regards to, Brazil and things like that. This is why we gave ample time and put the video link up so people can watch it. One thing that I do know, though, for men, women abroad, United States or whatever, sometimes they just don't like to hear the truth. So if there was any truth to be said, this is the call to hear it. And I hear Carnita making some very valid points, Nikki making some points, Mr. Greaves making points, Kwame making points. I'm not saying who's right or wrong, but everybody is making their points. It's their truth. We're not here to convert anybody. At the end of the day, we're going to just see if we can learn from each other and not go away from the call bitter or upset, but more so just trying to understand why. And if we always want to stay in our comfort zone, and we would never understand why the next person's ticked. I don't care whether this person does things that I'm not doing or not. I just want to know why. And that's just why we're talking. Any men on the line that got a call? Jason, I know you're on here, and Mike, I heard your voice earlier, and a couple of more numbers we haven't gotten to. But do y'all have any feedback? Paul, what are y'all thinking?
Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Sure can. Who is this?
Okay, this is Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went online. I watched this video years ago. I watched this video a long time ago, and I watched it again today. And I went online, and I was like, well, let me see what a trip is to Brazil. And I was like, there's no way on God's green earth I'm gonna travel 15 hours to meet a woman. Like, that's just not gonna happen. To sit on a plane for 15 hours to go to another country to meet a woman is just, to me, that's just really absurd. I want to ask this question. How many men are on this call that will give an example of, like, what they faced in the United States and what they faced outside of the United States? Because I cannot see a scenario where I'm going to go to another country to try to find another woman.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I definitely, dealing with the African culture, they're very serving and things like that. But you also got some African-American women who are serving. I believe it just depends on the woman, her upbringing, her background. You can't, that's like I don't like to be boxed in with every other man. I can't box other women, and I don't dare try to box every woman up with each other. They all got different personalities and just different in how they be.
And this is something else that got me about watching the video. When you listen to the guys on the video, they all seem to generalize African-American women in the United States. And now for me personally, like everybody essentially has opinions about black women based on a few simple examples. Our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, and other women that we've seen in the community. And for me personally, like, I have like really great examples. So I have great examples, and I have high standards, and I have really great experiences with black women. So this whole idea of me going to a place like Brazil or Colombia or the Dominican Republic, and I've been to the Dominican Republic. I've dealt with these women. I've dated these women. And I just can't see a scenario where I would go to another country when like I know it's here in the United States. So that's why I really want to hear more examples of people like saying, this is a woman that I met in this country, and this is, you know, this is what we did. I really would like to hear somebody give some kind of example like that.
Right. At the end of the day, man, let me see. Jason, you ever dated a woman as Paula's asking about?
No, I mean, not from another country. Maybe from maybe have Latin descent, but not from exactly from another country. But I mean, overall, how I think about it all is, I mean, of course, every culture and everywhere you go is different, and things of that nature. Nowadays, I mean, if I can speak freely on behalf of men and stuff like that, you got different type of men, you know, nowadays. There are different breaks out of men, just like there's different type of women. And you got men like my brothers. To me, my brother's like about 33, and I have another young one, maybe like 29 now. From there, I swear, I say from their generation and younger, they are a generation of the path of least resistance. They try to find whatever loophole in life where they don't have to struggle or suffer or have to work, and they try to go that direction. So in my regards, you know, you can look at it where some of the men who, given their example, who decide to take their route, they may have been ones like, you know what, I know there's someone else I can feel like a king who would just, you know, cater to me, and I don't have to try to work with American women and black women here and things of that nature. So it's all about the type of man and how they perceive the pressure they're getting. Some people fold, and some people keep walking through the pressure to find a common ground to make it work. But see, out there, you know, if the woman do everything you want, I mean, how are you all growing? You doing whatever I want. So you all not learning.
Exactly.
You're more so teaching.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But
exactly.
Growing, you're supposed to me, you're supposed to have struggles. And y'all find, if you hang in there, you find middle ground. You find ways to overcome stuff. But, you know, in their situation, you know, some of them may, you know, stand as if like they're in some, you know, like in a much better place, you know, where somebody do what you want. So I mean, that's easy. That's an easy environment. Anybody do that. But after a while, it gets old. It gets old. So like I said, I mean, you know, personally, I feel I want a woman who has her own viewpoint, because understand I don't know everything.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, you said it right there. Yeah, you just said it right there. You said it right there, because it's like having a yes man. Just everybody go along with what you say, and or a woman. Oftentimes they abuse women who just go along with everything the man does, and it's like she can't say anything. But I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the video, it sounded to me as if the men honestly were down there going to trick off, like they were just dealing with prostitutes. Yeah. You had the one man who was sitting at the table said, you know, how I guess he's talking about a waitress who, you know, brought him his drink and opened his straw for him and put the straw in the drink. I mean, maybe that's her job. Maybe it's not her job.
Exactly.
Maybe she's looking for a big tip. I'm not sure. But Mr. Greaves, you've been listening. Mm-hmm. It sounds like some prostitution, because one guy even said, you know, those women ain't got nothing, can't hold a handle to these, can't hold a candle to these hoes, and he cut himself off, and then he said women, like he was about to say hoes. So it sounded like they was down there to prostitute. Is that not true? I don't know it. Bessemer City, I'm going to mute you. Mr. Greaves, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, so it sounds like the men are going down there to trick off some money and get it cheap.
Let me say this, let me say because those guys who watched the film, they also noticed that I interviewed American women too, to give their perspective of what they felt that was going on here in the dating scene in America. And a lot of them had the same response when I asked them, have you ever been to Brazil? No, I haven't. Where do you get this information from? Well, I read the article, I read Essence, or I hear whatever news source I get my news from. So you haven't been there. So, you know, you can't give a clear perspective of it if you've never been there. Now, the problem, the situation you see over there, you tend to deal with women more traditional, more than here. You have this modern woman. Women over here tend to be more modern. They're more advanced than some of the women over there, which I applaud them. Black women are the most educated women here, entrepreneurial women here. They're getting this. I can't knock for that. I applaud them for that. But along the way, some of those values, those traditional values, went out the window. So then you have problems when dating these women Yeah, a lot of guys want another option. Say, you know what? I don't want to deal with this modern woman here. I'll go somewhere else and deal with traditional women. And some guys like, hey, I could deal with this modern women. Hey, I applaud you. If you can get it, you can get it. Some guys tend to travel. Some guys want to stay. Now, when you tend to stay and you look at the statistics, divorce rate at 52% and climbing. Black women least likely to get married. Least likely women to get married in America. Child support, killing the black community. Killing the black community. Most brothers on child support and income and wealth. You can't build wealth. You can't build. Your wealth is going out the drain because you spend 18 years. And you see that from athletes. You see it from prominent athletes. You got, what's this guy, Glenn Baker, who made $100 million working at Starbucks right now? Because he impregnated, that's his fault. He impregnated, he impregnated, excuse me? Yeah, he impregnated 10 different women. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, do men, go down there to trick off? I mean, I understand people may not have been to Brazil, but can we answer that part? Are they talking about tricking?
Let me answer that question.
Well, excuse me?
Go ahead.
I want to answer Tim's question, but go ahead and finish.
To chime in after.
Oh yeah, there's a group of men that go out there looking for that trade. I'm sure there is. Just like there's men here that go looking for that trade. There's men that probably go out there looking for tricking off on women. I agree with that. And you got some men out there who decided to live, to say, you know what, I'm uprooting my life. I'm going over here. I want to deal with this type of woman. I don't want to deal with modern women. I want to deal with traditional women. That's what we're going to show you in Frustrated 3 and exploring in Colombia and other aspects of the world, and then show you how you can make money and live and how the economy works over there, how it can benefit you over there as well. This is just,
have you seen any of them get married? Have you seen any of them get married? Because I hear like a lot of dating 3 times a year, visiting them. Have any men from here went down there and married them?
I know 3 who told me since they watched the film. They went brother from Philly, another brother from Atlanta, and I can't think of the other place, but I know 3 of them that went down there and got married.
Okay. Paul, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah. So let me preface what I'm about to say by saying this. I've been to many strip clubs in my life, and in the strip club, you run into all men or women. You run into women who are, they want to sell a lap dance. Some of them actually want to take it outside of the club or what have you. But typically, you run into a very black and white situation. There is no area of gray. These women either want to make money or they actually do want to befriend you. More often than not, in these situations, they want to make money. The same thing holds true for prostitution. If you, in the United States, if you bump into a woman who's tricking, she wants to make money. She's not trying to befriend you. When you go to these other countries, it's a really huge area of gray where, yeah, they'll certainly spend time with you for money, but they're also looking for companionship because of how impoverished these countries are. So they're very willing to befriend you, but they're very comfortable with it falling into that area of gray. So that I hope that kind of answers your question.
Look, let me ask you a question, brother.
I guess it's also situational, depending on. Go ahead.
Let me ask one question, because you say he saw the film. And when the young lady she stated, she said, I make 6 figures. If you don't make more than $70,000, don't talk to me. If you don't make that kind of money, don't you? I don't know if you remember that line in the film.
I remember it distinctly.
I remember.
Okay. What would you label that? Is that not prostitution?
So let me answer that question by first giving let me talk about data collection. not getting too deep, but in the film there were like 2 women, right? 2 women in the United States that were interviewed, right?
Yes.
So now, like I said, I'm 36 years old, and so I've had my fair share of seeing the world. I've been a serial dater. I've been on plenty of dates, and I have enough information. I have enough data to know that what she said does not represent black women as a whole. So I can't look at what she said and try to generalize that to all black women. I know that's how she feels. Now let me say this, and I'll let you finish. Also, I can guarantee you, Not that I'm some kind of pimp, but if I get her one-on-one, and I have that conversation with her, she'll probably back down from it. She probably just said that because those are numbers that she's been running in her mind probably for like years. She's probably already said, oh, well, if I make this, then he has to make this. But at the end of the day, I would stop short of guaranteeing you that if she bumped into a guy, she fell in love with him, she would probably change her tune. And let me say this, and I'll be done. Like trying to take that one thing that she said and say, okay, well, this is what's going to be important in a relationship. It's kind of ridiculous. We should be at a point when we're talking about relationships, we should be at a point where we say, let's get on the same sheet of music and work toward the same goal. If that's our mindset, then that little statistic that she gave is going to be null and void. You know what I mean? But I think that we of being on the same sheet, working toward a common goal, because we hear somebody say something, oh, well, I got to make 100,000, he got to make 75,000. So that's how I view what she said.
Well, that's her philosophy, and I don't know.
That same woman made a comment about how money is important, but there has to be a balance as well during that video.
Right, but once again, we're talking about two women.
Wait, Mr. Greaves. Wait, Paul. Mr. Greaves, go ahead. You gotta have some order here, man.
No, all I was saying is that's her philosophy, and I'm not making a generalization of all women, but there's enough women out there who go by that philosophy. So when you encounter guys, single guys like myself, as well-to-do, because I know tons of guys right now who well-to-do, who prefer not dealing with that kind of situation, who prefer to travel overseas, to go abroad, not just in Brazil. They go to Thailand, they go to Asia, they go to other places. So what I'm explaining to you is that this is a realization that when women say, I'm looking for men in the neighborhood and good men, they're leaving.
Okay. Somebody named Linda here has a comment. Let me mute you, Mr. Greaves, because we got some terrible feedback. Or that could be Paul's background. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. So it was Paul's background. I'm not sure what's going on, if you're on a speakerphone or what. But we got terrible feedback. Linda, you got a comment?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. No, this is very educational to me because as a black woman that has never been married and do not have any children at all, this is disheartening. So your documentary is accurately named as Frustrated because it's now I realize that there are a great number of men that are going abroad. But you said something in the beginning. You were saying that you don't have any children, and because of that realization that you don't have any children, they look at you differently as to say what is wrong. So for a woman like myself who's like, okay, there may be a great number of men that are going abroad to seek, that traditional stance, but, I myself have kept together and have that traditional stance. So being the odd one out, what can I do? Because you know that from your own experience that you didn't follow that stance. I mean, you don't have multiple children, and so you see the culture where you're not liking that culture. But what can one do? What can a woman do? Is my question.
Well, my opinion is just be who you be, stay who you are, and the right guy you'll meet that right individual that'll come up to you, that'll approach you, and be very articulate, very educational, so y'all can have that intellectual conversation. You won't have those issues. And like I say, for me, when I travel with my films and I do my shows and I travel with my films and we have these kind of conversations, women attack me. I'm not saying if I was in the stands and I met somebody like you who came up to me and said, hey, listen, I appreciate you, this, and we had an intellectual conversation, that may change my views on things. I don't know, but when I do my shows, I get attacked. I don't get, oh, man, I see what the point you're trying to bring out. I see you're trying to do this. You don't have kids? Oh, you must be homosexual. You must be this. You must be that. I get attacked. So I do my shows, and then, I go about my business. But if I met somebody like you who had an intellectual conversation, we could sit down and we could talk. So just stay who you are, be who you be, and you'll meet him.
Right. And one thing I also want to say, Paul said a lot of these places overseas are impoverished. It just depends. I guess it depends on where you're going. I guess even in the film they said, women are shopping all the time with bags and stuff like that. And of course we know South Africa is just like a United States over there in Africa. So everything is not super impoverished.
So you say everything is impoverished or not impoverished?
Not.
So yeah, it's not. I get people and they ask me, they got their own perception of Brazil or places they didn't ever been. And I apologize for the feedback. I got family coming out of town, so I'm actually out in New York City freezing bad to make sure I stay on this call with you guys. But you have to go, you have to experience for yourself. And there's the black women that travel over there. I see black American women go to travel just looking. I met women in Brazil, black women from America, that said they just came over here to check out the scene to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Linda, you still have something to say? Sound like?
Well, no, I just have a comment, and that is just going back to you, and I know that this is just educational, and you just wanted to give that point of view of what's going on. But now that you've met a woman like me who doesn't fall into that statistic, does this kind of change your point of view a little bit? And what is your kind of point of view? I mean, if you don't mind sharing it. I don't want to put you in a hot seat. I don't want you to feel like you're being attacked.
No. We're here talking. We're here talking and getting dialogue. What's my point of view on dating American women?
Yes, African American women.
Like I stated, I don't know if you missed earlier. Black women are the only women I date. I don't date Caucasian women. I'm not attracted. Now that I'm here, when I'm here in New York, I travel from New York and Atlanta doing my business. I'm not where I want to be at in life. So dating is the last thing on my mind. So when I do meet women here, and speaking with women here, dating is the last thing on my mind, unless they have some intellectual conversation that stimulates me, that can pull me from that. But I'm here grinding. I want my films out. I want to be in the film industry, so I work hard when I'm here. When I have leisure time, I tend to leave. I travel. I passport. I travel and I have leisure time. But I'm not opposed to meeting and dating black women. That's the only women I dated, black women.
Okay. One second, please. We got some more callers on the line. Denton, Texas, 4390. Who's that? Don't be shy.
Hi, I'm Alexandra.
Alexandra, glad to have you. You got any comments?
Not right now.
Okay. Charlotte, 8264. Who's that?
Hello, Stasia.
Stasia, you got any comments, feedback?
Well,
go ahead.
I mean, my comment is just, like the lady said, it is the proper title, frustrated, because I feel like as a hardworking black woman, my preference would be to be married to a black man. But, with all of that and all of the men that feel like they don't want an independent woman, I feel like for me, my only option is now to just maybe look outside my race.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Love who you love. At the end of the day, love who you love. If it works, if you got a lighter skin tone, I ain't gonna knock it. Personally. You know what I'm saying? If you got a darker skin tone, I mean, who's to say who you can love and you can't love? I personally don't have affection towards that.
Listen, when I travel and I see Caucasian brothers, even here in the States, you deal with Caucasian brothers, they have similar situations going on in their community. But like I said, if America has a cold, Black America got the flu. So when they examine and they do it in the broad scope, not to say all black men are alike, but they do it in the broad scope. They look at the dysfunction that's going on in your community. So you get labeled that. When they look at the dysfunction going on in your community, that makes it harder for black women to try to date outside their race. Because white boys look at that and they go, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And they tend to travel abroad. Excuse me?
No, I just want to say it's a lot of white men that love some sisters too. I guess they
love the
situation.
They love. Listen, no, they love sisters, but they have to navigate. They try to navigate through there and get the ones who are not dysfunction. They had to
Well,
find
the same thing we do, and the same thing they do. They got to find out which one ain't crazy, and you know what I'm saying. So we all got to do some type of navigating. Otherwise, I don't think any of us would be single right now. So we all on our quest, you know.
Right, but that's like
Georgia.
Timothy.
Yeah.
Timothy, can I make a comment to that?
Go ahead.
He makes it seem like the dysfunction is with the women, and if we would just act accordingly, everything would be fine. The dysfunction is with both sides, not with just the women. Because trust me,
right.
I can give you dysfunction on the male side too as a single woman. A lot of dysfunction, and a lot of irresponsibility, and a lot of immaturity, a lot of it. So it's not just a woman thing that there's dysfunction in the African American community or in the African American family. That family is a unit. Starts with two people, not one.
Okay.
So it's not just our responsibility to fix it.
When I made that statement, I was generally talking about, she was talking about dating outside our race. I said the dysfunction in the black community. I didn't say black women got all the dysfunction in the black community. I said the dysfunction in the black community. When you look at the dysfunction in the black community.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Grease. Do you see any dysfunction abroad? Do you see it, you know, through your lenses? Do you see any dysfunction when you go abroad?
Listen, I go to Brazil. They got racism there. I see the racism there. But
no. In the women.
It's they have some dysfunction there. But what you see is that the family unit. I'm the youngest of the 7 kids. I'm the baby out of 7 kids. And I grew up in a big family, a mother and father, I do the whole thing. So when I go over there and I see the family unit intact, I'm attracted to that. And when she takes me, I got to meet mother, father, cousin, this cousin, auntie, and all that. I'm attracted to that. And when I date
Mexican families here too. The Mexican family got everybody living there. So you can find that here.
But one thing you don't see.
You're asking me when I travel. So I'm just giving you my personal thought when I travel. When you guys when I travel abroad, this is what I see when I go abroad. And when I'm here back in the States, that's rare. You see a whole family intact. You don't see that. I see single parents. I see single moms. That's what I see when I'm in the grocery store. I see single moms.
It definitely sounds like you generalize it because there's definitely some 2-parent homes. I mean, it's a lot of them, obviously. It's some tight-knit families, you know. It depends, I guess, on who you're touching bases with. We also got a Tina on here. Tina, you got a comment?
No, I don't have any comments. I'm just listening. Thanks.
Okay. That's Tina. I think we got another Tina. New York. Never mind. If anybody else got a comment, please feel free to do so. We don't want to hold everybody all night. We know this is Thanksgiving Eve, so we want to be respectful to your time with your family and friends.
I have one comment, question/comment.
This is who?
Yolanda.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm just listening, taking all this in, and this has been interesting to hear. I guess where I am now, you know, because everyone's, you know, free to arrive at wherever they like. But I guess I'm sitting here thinking, you know, you have a young black male. He grows up in a house, hopefully, you know, with a mother and a father. So he's surrounded by black women in his family, no matter his family structure. He grows up around them, goes through some relationships of many different types. And at some point, you know, comes to the place of what we're hearing tonight. And I guess I'm wondering, you know, when you've grown up around, been nurtured and loved by American black women, at what point do you take a look at the community and the state of affairs with our families and our community, and you decide that you want to be a part of the solution in healing that, and saying that I will build strong relationships with black women, whether that's just as, you know, friends or as a father figure, a big brother figure, or that I'll do the work that it takes to have a good relationship with one, even if that means that we have to work through some things. Because to just say that,
you know, to come on and say, well, hey, everybody's running away and leaving you guys. White men don't really, you know, want to deal with you because you're too much, and brothers don't want to deal with you because you're too much. You know, where's the whole thing of at some point healing and fixing this? Or, you know, or is it to say that you've given up on it? We're going to go outside on the black women, and those children and those daughters are going to be on their own to grow up and figure it out.
And that's why we have calls like this.
Well, I don't hear that part of the conversation, so I'd like to hear some of that, you know. Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I'm just saying we had a call. I mean, otherwise, I've never been exposed to this type of thinking that I'm hearing tonight. And I'm not afraid to listen to somebody's point of view, even if it's different from mine. So then I can get a takeaway to have, a counter. So that's why I'm just, taking it in. I definitely don't think this way.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm thinking of the person who's kind of leading this. When what you hear is the whole leaving, but at some point there has to be some concern because this is your family too. These are your sisters and aunts and cousins and things like this that you're referencing when you say this. It's not just these other women in the bar. It's your family members. It's your friends too. And I guess I just think like maybe I know we're only looking at this one side of it, but I guess I just wanted to kind of put that out there, and I know it's getting late now to ask him his thoughts on that side of it, or hopefully in the future, or in the future to say that then let's take a look at the other side and not just kind of leave it out there like the black women are just too much and nobody wants you kind of, headline.
No, he can answer. He's still on the line. Go ahead and answer.
Well, I do that through my friends and my projects, and just like in Frustrated too, I really reached out to young men and tell them the response how to reproduce responsible without going through the court system and being gutted through the court system. So you can't just go out there impregnating women and leave them on their own. That's not going to work today, especially at the reform of Bill Clinton did the reform in the welfare system, and then he took it part in going after men for child support, incarcerating you, taking away your rights, your driver's license, passport, and incarcerating you. So it all starts for me in educating people on how to reproduce. That's what I see the problem as. It's how we choose to reproduce and how we choose to have kids. I see that's the point I see, and I try to educate men on being responsible when it comes to reproducing. Now, when I go out and especially in Atlanta got beautiful women, educated women, and when I talk to them about them talking to women in the inner city and educating women on how to reproduce, I hear the same thing. It's not their fault. Okay? It's not their fault. It's what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, well, why'd you lay down with somebody who's not responsible? Why would you pleasure a man who's not being productive? You're not working, he ain't doing anything, pants hanging off his ass. Why would you pleasure somebody like that? And then when pregnancy occurred, what do you think he was going to do? And I call on my women to educate women in the inner cities not to reproduce with non-productive men.
That's a valid point.
I agree with a lot of points that were stated,
Yeah, it's a valid point. I mean,
and not taking away the responsibility of women. I guess it's almost like it's a vicious cycle, and it's just putting the energy into kind of fixing it because it's what you're talking about now, irresponsible reproduction that creates the people that you're talking about who kind of haven't been nurtured or loved or trained or taught or prepared for good, healthy relationships and knowing what to look for and who's been validated and all of those good things that kind of create this whole vicious cycle that we're talking about. And I guess just for me and the way I like to kind of look at things, it's like, okay, well, at this point now we're very aware of the problem,
right.
But at some point the energy has to be put back into kind of healing and fixing and pointing at people and saying you're irresponsible. It takes some inner work to get somebody to understand what you're saying to them when you say that, because they could feel attacked. You say women attack you, but they could feel attacked if it's being communicated in that way, because there's a lot of things going on internally and that need to be healed and worked on and validated on the inside of a person for them to even understand what you're saying.
Well, I think it takes, like you asked me, what I plan to do to go in the inner city and to deal with this problem. And I think it takes women also to say the same thing. What can we do to go in the inner city to look at this problem?
I'd like to make a point, please.
Yeah. Sure. 1 second. I believe everybody on this phone is a leader in their own, like, some kind of way. We're grown. We're not dealing with, we're not on the phone with 10, 11, 12-year-olds. We're grown individuals. If anything, we can bring our own solutions to the table. I'm not, don't think we got to sit around and wait for other people to bring us healing and solutions and things like that. I think we got enough within us to bring some solutions to the table. So just to get this conversation going and just to see what his thought is, I think we got enough within our own lives to be able to, like they say, eat the chicken, spit out the bones, get the valid points and throw away what you don't like. But I'm like, what are we waiting on? The healing, where is it coming from if it's not going to come from us? I mean, who are we waiting on, somebody to show about the blues?
No, that's my point, is it has to be within us and within the homes and from people who look like you that you identify and understand. It's my only point, I'm not waiting for some outside person. I'm not saying that he's the only person who can do that. It's just saying that there's problems before you talk about a woman old enough to lay down with the man and have sex with her. There's some other things going on that should have been and sometimes need to be dealt with that even allow her to be in that position to make those things. And so there are just other things that need to be dealt with just from childhood and that kind of thing. So that's where I'm agreeing with his point about responsible reproduction, because in that situation, the child has a better chance of understanding healthy relationships and knowing that they're validated without dealing with people who aren't worthy of their time or attention.
Hey. Somebody had a question or comment, and that's good, Yolanda. Somebody had a question or comment?
This is Tina. I wanted to say something really quick.
Go ahead.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I'm not black, and I actually just broke up with my boyfriend who is black, and a lot of the things that the gentleman said resonated with my ex. He said many of the same things. He didn't feel like black women appreciated him, that they were very aggressive, too aggressive for him. They were too
What's your
headstrong.
nationality? I'm sorry, so we can understand where you're coming from. I'm sorry. What's your nationality?
My mom is British white, and my dad is from Turkey. So I grew up in Great Britain for a couple of years, and then I moved to New York some years ago.
Okay, so you considered Turkish, or what do you go by?
I guess I'm mixed. I guess I'm Turkish and white, or Turkish and British.
Okay, so we can understand.
Yeah.
Okay, can you please go ahead?
Sure. So it's not very uncommon in the black community for a lot of men to think this way. My ex was a prime example, and many of his friends also thought this way, that black girls are too much, or they're gold diggers, or they are considered very masculine. I'm not agreeing with any of this. I think this is very unfair, because I know I've lived for a couple of years in New York, so I had a lot of black friends, and I didn't see everybody this way, and I didn't see every black woman this way, and everybody was very different. So it's unfortunate that that black men think this way and think that the black women are too hot-headed or have bad attitudes, or for example, they stop caring about their appearance after a certain age, or the weaves. They don't like the weaves. They like women with natural. You see?
No, you said they stopped caring about their appearance, or did you say they start?
My ex and many of his friends used to talk this way, that black women stopped caring about their appearance after a certain age,
they let themselves
That's
go,
crazy.
they gain a lot of weight. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, but these are things that these guys are saying, and one of the main reasons why my ex came after me was because that I don't represent. I'm not a representative of the black race. It's a little unfair, and maybe his life situation, he dealt with a lot of bad girls, so a lot of bad examples, and I'm not sure how many people he dated or went out with or dealt with. I never really asked those kinds of questions, but I'm assuming since he's out and about on the street all the time that he's dealt with a lot of girls. And so he must have had a lot of bad experiences one after another for him to come to this conclusion that I'm done. He actually said it to me many times, I'm done with black women. I'm done with black girls. And it's unfortunate, but the gentleman who talked this way talked about this stuff on the call earlier, when he goes to foreign countries and meets these kinds of women, even in the U.S., guys who, like my ex, never traveled overseas, but he even thinks this way. So I think there's some kind of, I think within the black community there has to be some kind of real self-introspection to see what's going on. What exactly is going on? Is there a lot of dysfunction? Are people just meeting the wrong types of people and dealing with the same situation over and over again and not learning their lesson? Or I don't know. I just feel like there's I can't speak from experience, but
Tina, I think it's both. It's dysfunction there, just like it's dysfunction in the Turkish community, just like it's dysfunction in the Latino community, just like you have hothead Latinos. They're known for going off, and I'm sure people over there, Turkey, be throwing rocks and throwing things like how it depends on the person. So just trying to box people up based upon the limited people that they've dealt with. That's where the foolishness comes in. Period. Because your ex or whoever, his buddies. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, you're the Tina from a couple of calls before, and we know what you were talking about your ex. He ain't too much of a good example to be even talking about anyway. So
you're right.
Yeah, so I mean, look at his mindset of how he was treating you. So we definitely don't even need to think about anything he had to say.
Right.
Hey, Tim, can I jump in for a second?
Sure, go ahead.
Hello? Hey, Tim, listen, I just want to say, man, listen, thank you for having me on your show. Thank you for allowing me to introduce me to your audience. I know I come with a different philosophy, but thanks for giving me the chance to sit here and have an intelligent discussion on our differences, but hopefully we learn from each other. I'm sorry to cut it short. I got family that came from out of town, man. I'm in New York, and I can't go inside. I'm outside freezing right now.
Oh, you didn't cut it short. Yeah. Actually, we went over. So we appreciate you for being with us over that hour that I talked about. So you have a good night and a happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate your time.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving to everybody on the panel, man. I appreciate having a debate, discussion with you guys. I love to do your show anytime, Tim.
Okay. Thank you again. At the end of the day, it's situational. Glad we had him on the line to get his thinking. Like we say, we open it up to everybody's truth. We're all different. I'm not afraid to hear somebody else's point of view, whether we agree with it or not. And how are we going to know what to combat if we don't know what's out there? So that is the purpose of this type of calls. We're not afraid of somebody's annoying. Controversial topics we're not afraid of. And so I look forward to having even more calls like this for various topics. Any more questions or comments before we let y'all go finish cooking desserts? And
I wish there were more people that could hear this.
More people that could hear this?
Yeah, I wish there were more people abroad that could hear this conversation, because as a young black woman, this is something I'm loving to hear from older African American people. That
who's this?
I'm
sorry. Who's this? I want to hear your names. I'm sorry when you say.
I'm sorry, Mayan.
Okay.
And it's great to hear from y'all. And the experiences y'all have had, and ways we should go about, ways we should take, things we should think about before we make a decision that could completely just take us a whole nother path that we did not want to go down. And this was probably the best conversation I've heard in a long time. And I really wish it was out there, maybe out there, probably like on the radio.
Well, it will be a podcast.
A beautiful conversation.
It will be a podcast, and you will be able to share it with whoever you want to in a few weeks, about 4 weeks. They got like a 4-week lag. We got like, but it'll be up in about a month. You can share it. Nikki, you had a comment? Thank you for that comment, Maya. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this was a different call for me tonight, and just listening to the other guys that were on the phone was refreshing to hear men not agree with the young man that was speaking and give their point of view. I want to say his name was John or somebody that was speaking. He was making some really valid points, and I really appreciate his feedback, because just listening to him and the other guy and just listening to everyone else speak on the call, it made it a good call, just because a lot of times the guys don't speak up, and I really appreciate the fact that he did speak up and give a different view from, not agreeing or, on the same page, because a lot of guys are not on the same page as this guy that's going abroad to find women. But I feel like it was a good call. It got heated a little bit, but I think that's a good thing to get people's different point of views and everything.
Yeah, it got heated. I don't know why Timothy is having this call. Actually, his name is Paul. Paul, you on the line?
Paul. Okay, I'm sorry, Paul.
Well, I had to mute him for a second because he was getting some terrible feedback. But he is unmuted. If he's on the line, he can speak. Any other questions or comments?
No, I don't have any comments. No.
Okay. Any questions or comments from anybody else? We appreciate all your feedback and your comments. Somebody from Winter, Georgia, you logged in 5498. I'm not sure if I already asked you that. Any questions or comments? 10 seconds, and we're going to close this out if you don't. Well, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, and y'all enjoy your night. Hopefully those who are in Charlotte, I understand some of y'all are on the road and things like that, but if you're in Charlotte, you don't have anything to do, no family and friends in town, you got family with Charlotte Execs, and we'll be hanging out at game night uptown. It's Uptown Sunday. We'll be bowling, so look on the group. Y'all know the information. Y'all see the calls. The emails. That's how y'all on the call. So appreciate y'all for spending this time with us, and we're going to let y'all go. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good Thanksgiving. Good night.
Thank you for tuning in to Charlotte Execs After Dark, where we discuss relationships, business talk, and real life. We'd love for you to join us live. Visit charlotteexecs.com for more information. Until next time, enjoy life.